we found out that Jalin Turner, who's considered one of the best lightweights in the world at just 29 years young, was calling it a career. And obviously very surprising because we don't see this often. And he has spoken about it a little bit in the immediate aftermath. Wanted to give him some time to maybe process and digest it all, have him on the program. He's kind enough to come on, so let us speak to the tarantula right now. There he is, Jalin Turner. Hello, Jalin. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for doing this. And apologies for the mix-up with the time zones and whatnot. I thought you were in a different time zone, but I appreciate you being very flexible. And so let's get into it. Here we are, like I said, some 9 or so days removed from UFC 313. How do you feel about that night and the decision to make the announcement in the aftermath? Are you still feeling, the same way?
Yeah, I'm still feeling the same way. It's been settling a little bit more. I got the retirement letter from the UFC, and yeah, I still stand by the decisions, and that's just where I'm at right now with it.
I saw on the night you did some interviews, and you said that you actually considered walking away after UFC 300. Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah. I took some time off. I stepped away. I didn't fight for about 11 months, almost a year, and I was just trying to figure out if I still had the fire, the drive, the inspiration I want to like continue to just fight because there was just so much going on and just so much going on like with me just mentally, defeat always sucks, and yeah, I just had to process some things that I was going through, and I kept trying to find the love for the sport again and find my why again, and it just kept dwindling. It would come, it would go, and it's hard to be at the top of the sport and be inconsistent mentally.
You were going into that fight at UFC 300 against Renato Moicano, coming off a really nice win over Bobby Green. And so were you feeling that way going into the fight, or was there something about how that fight played out or that training camp that made you start to feel this way?
Ultimately, it was how that fight played out. I got a lot of strife from the finish with Bobby, and like the community was like, "Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that?" And I'm a good guy, so I like that wasn't my intent to like continue to hurt the guy, but that's what you got to do in the sport, like this, you go until the ref calls you off, and how it played out in 300 where. I just had a little moment of clarity where I just didn't want to continue to hurt this man. I didn't want to continue to hit him. And yeah, man, like then everybody was like, "Oh, you should have did this, you should have did that," try to walk off. And like, it was UFC 300, like such a big show, like the biggest, I think it would have been, one of the biggest events I was a part of, next to Conor McGregor versus Khabib. And, I just really wanted like a big redemption moment. Like, okay, I'm going to do this. The UFC was hyped for me to be on the card. And yeah, I just felt like I just had so much of a letdown, on myself, on like the people that believed in me, on the promotion. And it just took a toll. It took a really big toll mentally. And, everything just started to like kind of like just so many things just got deteriorated in my personal life and like just changed up, and like there was so many like crazy like transitions and switches, and it was a lot, it was so much going on. And you know ultimately that performance, like not following up, not doing like had I won that fight, like had I finished through those last few punches as if, like from the
Mhm.
previous fight, things probably would be like a little bit different. But, like I've already been getting a little burnt out from the sport. Like I've already been like losing my love for it a little bit, but, I was still able to go in there and do what I do. But yeah, I just don't feel it anymore. I feel like my why is gone. I feel like my fire is just dwindled too much to perform at the level that the UFC asks for and demands and where I want to be.
I appreciate you elaborating on that very much. I remember the Bobby Green fight very clearly, and I remember, the finish, and I remember that Kerry Hatley, who was the referee, got a lot of the blame for letting the fight go on. I didn't feel like the blame was being thrown in your direction. In the aftermath, though, because you were a part of it, because you were the one throwing the punches, did you feel like you were at fault? Did you feel like you were getting blamed for just doing what you're told to do, which is go until the referee stops you?
In the moment, I didn't. In the moment, I saw Bobby still like moving and still a little bit there, and then after I watched it, I was like, dang, that was pretty bad. And and then seeing like there wasn't too many comments where people were just like, oh, like hey, like there was people defending me, there were people going against me, and it was just a lot. It was just already a lot. I just felt bad. I felt bad because like even to begin with, I didn't want to fight Bobby. Like I said it in interviews, like I didn't want to fight Bobby. We're from the same area. I show him a lot of respect, and I kind of felt like I kind of got a little push to fight that fight, and yeah, it's like it is what it is. I just went in there just to fight and do my job, and yeah, man, a lot of emotions went into that, like after, I was already like against it, and then come out, and then I get all this like slack from the fans. I'm like, yo, like it's like, man, it's just it plays with the mental a lot.
I could totally see that. And you didn't have any of these feelings going into that fight about like losing that fire, your why. No, like none of that was apparent inside.
Um, yes, to an extent, but anytime a fighters come off of a loss, we always think like, man, we don't want to do this. This sucks. X, Y, and Z. You always get those thoughts in your head. You like battle those demons, battle those thoughts, and you can always overcome them. You can always get over it. Like so, I was like, who was the fight before Bobby? It was Hooker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I came off the Hooker fight, and even with Hooker, like I felt bad seeing him in the hospital. I was like, man, like. I was like, dude, like I just took time away from this man, spending time with his family.
Mm.
He had to get surgery. Like it weighed heavy on me. It weighed a lot on me. And I started to, seek help, like started like talking to a therapist for a bit, and I just I don't know, a lot of it started to just get to me, I'm like, dang, like I'm out here hurting people, I don't know why. Like it just I don't know if it was like a spiritual awakening, like me coming to my faith. Um, it just got rough. It just got hard to like want to go in there and like hurt people, and then I go out there and I do what I did with Bobby, and like I was just like on a more personal note, like it was already like just affecting me as a person,
Mm.
spiritually. So it goes deeper than a lot of people know, a lot like than I talk about. So
Yeah.
it's just a
And
little insight.
no, and I can't thank you enough for the insight. I know it's not easy to speak on this, but it actually when you start to hear you talk about it, it crystallizes the performance against Moicano perfectly. It now all makes sense what happened there because I think in the aftermath, people were wondering why didn't you just go that, into that extra gear and finish him off. And so in that moment, are you thinking back to the Bobby Green fight and some of the criticism you received, and that's why you didn't go full throttle?
In that moment, I just feel like I had like just a moment of clarity. You get to a point when you fight where like you're just on autopilot. You don't really think about anything. You're just kind of like, all right, I'm here, I'm doing my job, I'm doing everything I trained to do, and you just kind of just turn on a certain mode. And I was in that zone, and as soon as I seen him fall, I was like I just had a moment of clarity. I was like I didn't want to hit him. I didn't want to. I don't know what it was. My consciousness turned on, and I don't know if it was God. I don't know who it was, what it was. Like I don't know what came over me. But I just did not want to keep hitting him. I don't know why. And people are like, "Oh, you wanted to do a walk off," and I kind of seen Herb step in, like, and I've already had Herb as ref before. Like he's done that to me before, so it wasn't like something I didn't know that could have happened. Like where I would have to continue to fight this guy. I just didn't. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to keep hitting him. And then same with this last performance, like Ignacio got me in a beautiful triangle, and I had an opportunity to get out. I seen the opportunity. I seen my defense. I seen my time. I just didn't have that extra drive to like fight hard enough to get out. You know, and I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it, and it's just hard. It's hard right now. Hard to deal with.
In the immediate aftermath of 300, were you done? And then did you decide to come back for one last shot to see if you still had it in you, or did that thought of that final, that finality to the career, did that not fully come to mind?
Yeah, it already came to mind. I would have been okay calling it a career then, but I felt like I was doing it more so out of fear of wanting to go back
Mm.
and fight. I didn't feel right with that, and I felt like God was like, "Go out there and fight again," So I did, and I didn't get the performance or the result that I wanted, but um, I'm proud. I overcome the fear. Um, I went out there and I tried to do my job, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
You should be. No, I mean, the 0.1% of the people on the planet are able to overcome that fear and make that walk that you've done on multiple occasions. So you should be very proud of yourself. Did you tell your team, your coaches, friends, loved ones, manager? Did you tell anyone that you were feeling this way?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody close to me pretty much knew. Um, I talked to coaches about it. Um, talked to my fiance about it. I talked to my family about it, and it was hard. I talked to my therapist about it. And I just yeah, it was hard. I talked to Dorian Price. Dorian Price gave me some good information. Like I talked to him for a bit. He helped me out a lot, and I just got so many mixed results. Like mentally I was there, mentally I wasn't there, and I talked to my management. I told them like, hey, like I don't know if I'm gonna fight. Like I'm not there. I went through so much. Like I didn't even have the fight contract signed yet, but the UFC was like, yeah, the fight should be good. It should be on. But like I go out to Dubai. I train as if I'm getting like I have this fight, and like stuff gets heavy mentally for me out there, and then I end up coming back early. I come back to Florida, and then I tell my management, I'm like, yo, I don't think I want to fight. I was like, I think I'm good. And he's like, all right, well, I'll talk to the UFC. And I think like maybe like a week later, I get the bout agreement. And as soon as I see it, I was like, dang, is this a sign that I need to fight? Like, I prayed about it. I was like, all right, like, okay, well, maybe I just need to overcome this fear. And, as soon as I see the bout agreement, a lot of my like fear and anxieties went away. And I was like, all right, like I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to go. And then, like some other stuff happens during training. You know, I just get a little injury and nothing too crazy. I was like, oh man, like do I still want to do this? Like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, am I? It's just it's just a mental battle, and it's just the first time I ever had this mental battle going into a fight or a training camp where it was it was winning.
Mm.
It was I felt like I didn't want to, no matter what came above me or came over me, I didn't want to. As prior, no matter what thought came into my mind, no matter what crossed my mind that tried to hinder me, I always wanted to. Like I wanted to do it so badly, as badly as I wanted to breathe, I wanted to do it. Like I would risk my life to go fight, and I don't feel that. I don't feel that way anymore, and that's really dangerous because you got to feel like that, like in a sense, like not literally, but even just figuratively, like in your mind, you have to be willing to sacrifice so much to go in there and fight.
How were you feeling in the locker room right before the fight at T-Mobile? Hey there, sorry to interrupt. Just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it very much. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up too. We've got live shows, interviews, clips, and a whole lot more going on this here channel. All right, now back to the show.
um, I was feeling heavy, but I felt a bit at home. I felt a little bit at peace. But then I go in there and they're telling me like Chris Curtis's fight got canceled, and I think as a Chris somebody else's fight got canceled.
Curtis
So
Blades.
two fights got canceled, and I was like, dang, I want my fight to be canceled. I don't even want to go out there. This is about to be crazy. I was like, oh man, like why do I have to hear that right now, And like I started trying to warm up, trying to like get through the nerves, get through the feelings. And I was like, dang, I don't want to go out there. I was like, oh man. I was like, no, I don't want to go out
Wow.
there. And I start moving, start feeling my body move, start warming up, start going through the motions, start hitting pads. Everything starts coming together again. I start like getting my wits about me and I start feeling good. I'm like, okay, like this is what I'm good at. I've done this for a long time. Just go out there and move, go perform. And I start breaking a sweat, start hitting the pads hard. I feel good. I'm just telling myself like, okay, it's gonna be like you're gonna go hard spar. Like don't think too much of it. Don't think too much of it. As soon as you go out there, as soon as you hear that music, you're gonna lock in. You're gonna be in your zone. And I'm just standing in the little walkway, and I'm just praying. I'm just like praying, just asking God like to like be with me, protect my opponent. Make sure everything is good, and yeah, I'm just like asking him to just give me courage, give me strength, and then I walk out, and then we go fight. And in the fight, I felt so relaxed. I felt so at peace. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like normally when you're in a fight, you feel like everything just slows down. You get like this tunnel vision where everything's in slow motion. Everything you feel is heavy, like your body feels super heavy and strong. And it almost feels like when you're trying to run in a dream, like that's how it feels when you go fight. I didn't feel like that. And it kind of worried me because I was like, man, I, it's, like it just worried me, but it gave me a sense of peace at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. So when we come out and we do start exchanging, I felt so crisp. I felt fast. This was the lightest I ever walked into a fight. I walked into this fight at like 173, and I just felt good. And I didn't expect them to shoot on me. I didn't expect them to try to take me down. So when my goal was to like grapple him and take him down. And then I'm like, man, now I'll think about it. I'm like, I should have just kept it on the feet, and yeah, just like throwing elbows. That was the one thing I wanted to do in this fight. I was like, I want to get in a certain position. I want to throw elbows. And then we got there. And then like we go back to guard, and I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm just cruising. And like he kind of like bumps me over one side, and I'm like, all right. And then I like place my knee too far to the left for too long. And I was like, oh shoot. And then my coach calls me to grab the overhooks instead of the underhooks. And I'm like, dang. And then like as soon as I like noticed that I was doing that wrong, like he starts adjusting too. I know he heard it, and then he like starts adjusting for the triangle, and then he throws it on, and I sit up, like this, and I just remember like I could get out, and like he starts like pulling me down, and I'm like this is, I'm like it's gonna be a hard fight. Like it's gonna be a hard fight from here to get out. And if we get out, then I'm gonna have to keep fighting this guy for the next however many minutes, however many rounds. And I was like, dang, like, do I want to do that? And there's no knock on anyone, like no knock on anyone's technique. Like everything was beautiful. Like he executed everything. I just didn't want to keep fighting. And it's a wild thing for me to say this, experience this, and talk about this, because when I fought Brad Riddell, I won't ever forget feeling exactly. I felt like he wasn't there mentally when I fought him.
Mm.
So it always like is in the back of my heart, like, dang, I didn't get to fight him at his best, and it just feels unfair. And he even reached out to me after. I haven't personally talked to him about it, but I did hear that he wasn't good mentally before we fought. And man, like, that also takes away from the victory. It's like, dang, like I didn't get to battle to get my position from with against someone that was like willing and ready to lay it all on the line. Like they weren't there. I didn't get their 100%. It always takes away from a fighter, and it's oh man, it's rough. I didn't ever think that would have been me. I didn't ever think like I would get to a mental place where I wouldn't be 100% ready to like go out on my shield, And I was just, yeah, man, it's such a mental battle, man. It's such a mental battle because all the skills, all the attributes, all the talent, I know I have it. Like I know it's there. Like I hear it all the time. I've heard it since I started fighting. And yeah, man, if the mental's not there, the body's not really going to facilitate well.
It seemed like in the immediate aftermath, I think you may have told Dana White that you were done, and then he was trying to tell the production team, but then your coaches told you not to say it in the cage. Is that how it all went down?
No, he told me to wait up, but I think the security like got us out of the octagon. Like we all went out, and I talked to like John Moraga a little bit, and um, yeah, we didn't get the opportunity to stay in the octagon because of the next fight started to come out. So that was just our fault, like just miscommunication. But he did tell me like stay in if that was my decision. Like he told me wait up, and yeah.
Okay. You mentioned speaking to a therapist. Is this like a sports specific therapist or a general life therapist?
Yeah, sports specific.
Okay. And so when you're speaking to this individual, are you talking about these issues like that affect you as an athlete, or are there other things that you need to explore? I ask you this because I'm someone who's talked about, speaking to a therapist. I've done it on multiple occasions for long periods of time, very recently as well. And so, not asking you specifically to go into the exact reasons that don't pertain to fighting, but I was curious if you're only speaking about sports related things, or are there other things that are sort of, on your mind and making you feel this way?
Yeah, we have a good relationship. So we talk about like everything pretty much across the board. Personal. Personal is like seldom. If it's gonna affect my performance as far as sports go, we'll speak on it. As far as training goes. But yeah, we keep it more on the sports end of everything. But just acquiring skills and just ways to reset and keep my mind intact and just overcome the hurdles that life throws at me.
How does your mind feel now? Now that you are speaking about it, you have said that you are done. Do you feel healthier? Do you feel happier? Do you feel like a weight has been lifted?
Yeah, I feel like a weight's been lifted, but also, it's a death of my dreams. It's hard. I mourn it. The more it sets in, the more I think about it. It's like it gets hard.
Hmm.
There's good days, bad days. Like I fight back tears talking about it. But I just think it's the right decision. It's the right decision for now. I feel like it's really responsible of me to acknowledge what's going on, and you know, it's it's not to say that that fire won't come back. I just don't want to keep anybody waiting or anticipating a return if I ever do return because it may never come back. But yeah, I still stand by my decision. A lot of weight was lifted. I'm at peace with it. I just still just grieving.
You did write on your Instagram. We'll see what the future holds. And we know in fighting people come back, and you're so young and you're so talented. It wouldn't surprise me if in 3 4 years you do come back, or if you don't. We've seen it go both ways. If in fact you don't come back, what do you think you do now? What does this chapter look like?
Ultimately, I'm not sure. I'm not truly sure where it goes, but I do feel like I'll still be around the sport. I'll be involved in the sport in some way, shape, or form. I definitely would like to connect with like younger fighters and help them maneuver through anything that they're going through, and just be a veteran now. Just show them ways and show them things, and just help and give back. Especially to the fight community for sure. And yeah, I don't know as far as like your career goes, and as far as like everything else. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna let God open doors and just work His way. And Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll start doing interviews or something. I don't know. I think I'm well spoken. I think people would like to talk to me. Who knows?
I think you would be great on this side of the table. I think that would be a phenomenal idea. How do you feel about the sport? Like, do you think you'll be able to watch it, follow it? Do you need a bit of a break from the sport, a break from the gym? How do you feel about it right now?
Yeah, I need a little bit of a break. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't say from the sport per se, but from the gym, I definitely do. I gotta get surgery soon. I think it's surgery. I think arthroscopic surgery. So we'll see.
Surgery on what?
My knee, I meniscus tear.
Did that happen in the fight or before the fight?
Yeah, before.
Okay, so you were going into that fight not at 100%.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was torn. I just thought like something happened. But like even in the fight, like when when we went to the ground, I felt it pop. I was like, oh, I was like, oh yeah. But just that's no takeaway. Like I think I'm fortunate for only having three. This would be my third surgery in 7 years of MMA.
Wow.
Uh,
And you're certainly not the only athlete, especially in the last few years, to speak about, dealing with mental health issues. And I think it's inspiring, and I think it's very commendable, especially as a fighter. You're perceived to be an alpha male. You're a tough, strong guy. Fighters don't want to speak on weaknesses and whatnot. But I'm wondering, since you have talked about this a little bit, have you heard from a lot of fighters who have reached out, or people who have reached out to say that you have been an inspiration in doing so?
yeah, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and a lot of motivation and people telling me their stories and how they struggled, fighters struggling with their own and telling me I can get through it and just being inspirational. And I feel like I've been more inspired by them than they've been inspired by me. So yeah, I'm usually an open book, man. Like I don't really hide what's going on. I know there's people that can relate. I don't care about negative things that people have to say, and I'd rather be vulnerable in the public eye, so like other men can understand like it's okay, like you don't have to. You can be a fighter, and you don't have to be like, oh, this tough guy 24/7 because it's just gonna drain you. That's not realistic, everybody's different. There's some men that are like that, there's people that are like that, and then to each their own. Like it's just for me, that's just not me. And I don't mind talking about like what I'm going through mentally, the more the more you understand, like the more the dots connect, then I feel like there's more empathy involved if people can understand and digest what I was going through.
100%.
And I feel like a lot of people just need to open up about it, and talk about it, because there are people that care. And yeah, like I didn't even think I was gonna get as much love from retirement as I got, you know, because the last thing all I could remember was a bunch of the hate from the Moicano fight. How many parlays I messed up, and
Oh, fuck that, man. I can't believe
you
you guys
know,
hear that stuff. I cannot believe I can't fathom writing that to an athlete. And I know you guys deal with it. You're not the only one to mention that, and it sucks, and it's so unfair. You guys don't deserve that. And I hope that you are now receiving more love. And this tends to happen, unfortunately. It's like when someone dies, they get all the love in the world. People tend to celebrate you only when you say goodbye, and that's not fair in its own right. But you deserve all of that. You are one of the best fighters in the best division in the UFC with an incredibly high ceiling and still extremely exciting. Obviously you want to win all the fights, but win or lose, like Jalin Turner was never in a boring fight, and ultimately it comes down to entertainment, and everyone looked forward to your fights. And I know that you probably never envisioned it going down this way, and you certainly probably didn't envision walking away at 29. But can you look back on the body of work with fondness, or do you look back now with like through the lens of some of the sadness and regret? How do you look back on it now, or is it still too fresh?
I it's still pretty fresh. I look back at it, and like I appreciate how far I've come, but also, you know, it's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to go a ways further, So I just, yeah, I haven't. If I think about it, if I think about it too much and I dwell on it too much, I'm just gonna just get overwhelmed mentally, I might be like, all right, I'm coming out of retirement, knowing I'm not ready, like
Mm.
it's just that's not healthy. So, because like I still, man, like when I started this in my backyard, like my dream was to be UFC champion, and I'm very proud of how far I've gotten though, just a little kid training in his backyard, learned no direction, didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. About to graduate high school, didn't know about college, just started training in my backyard, training with some friends, and the gym had a fight team trial, man, and I just went. I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give myself 4 years to fight in a big promotion, make my way, and I did, So just looking back at how far I have come and everything I have achieved and everything I went through, all the adversity I went through, everything I pushed through because I wanted to do it. That it gives me a lot of peace, and just knowing that I don't want to, feeling like I don't want to as badly or anywhere near as badly as that young man that started, that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. Can't play with it.
Uh, Positive silver lining: you can now skateboard and not have to worry about getting injured or it affecting your MMA career. You can do whatever you want. You can switch tray. I do believe it's called. Is it called switching tray? Yes.
Yeah, switch tray.
Switch tray foot.
Yeah, switch
Flip.
tray flip.
I
Yeah.
blew it, Jalin. I blew it. I tried to sound cool and I didn't sound cool. But you could do those things, which you're very good at.
Yeah. I definitely want to get back on the board. I mean, I gotta get this knee fixed, and then I can
Yes.
play, and then I got some more fun.
A member of our team, Alan, is very good friends with your one of your coaches, Ant Murataya Gonzalez, and he sent us this message to relay to you. If you don't mind me reading it before we say goodbye, he told us, being in your corner has been an indescribable joy and privilege. From the moment I saw your raw talent and fierce determination, I knew I was witnessing something special. Being a part of your journey meant more than just coaching. It meant sharing in the exhilaration of your progress, celebrating your victories, and learning from your challenges. This sport doesn't just remember champions, it remembers warriors. No matter what comes next, I'll always be in your corner. That's a profound impact and relationship that you have.
Yeah, and Ant's been a real one. He's always man, I love that dude, man. Dang, I appreciate that.
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, when one of my previous coaches didn't corner me, so I asked Anthony to come corner me. We hadn't talked for a bit, and he still was open arms, to work with me again. I really appreciate that. That meant a lot. And man, like having real genuine love, it always feels good. It feels good. Like unconditional love feels good, and I appreciate him for that.
We appreciate you. A tremendous run, a tremendous career. If this is, in fact, the end, you should be incredibly proud. Not a lot of people get to the UFC. Not a lot of people are victorious in the UFC as much as you were. So thank you. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for sharing your emotions with us. And we'll just say see you later. Not goodbye. You're going to be a part of the sport, perhaps on the broadcasting side, the coaching side. You still have a lot to give, and you're still so very young. So we can see you back in there. But take your time. Be kind to yourself, get well, and thank you. I know this is not easy and probably not a fun interview to do, but I can't thank you enough for being as open, as candid as you have been.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. Yeah,
All right.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jalin. All the best to you. There he is, Jalin Turner. Really appreciate him very much, and not easy to talk about those things, not easy to express those feelings, to hear those thoughts and feelings, but a very real thing that fighters go through, that all athletes go through. And man, if there's one takeaway, if you're that kind of guy, if you're that kind of person that sends a fighter a message about a parlay or about a bet or something, please just don't do it. And this stuff does affect them. This stuff does really poison their soul, their brains, their mindset. Why? You thought enough of them to bet on them going in. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Please, for the love of God, if I can ask for one thing, if there's two things that I could wish for, no more Apex and no more parlay bet tweets to fighters who lose fights, especially not ones that are that talented, who probably have won you a whole bunch of money. Please, don't do it. Stop. No more. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.